Hey guys, Adrian here from Digital Dojos. I know it's been a while since I shot a vlog like this, and I recently just shot a vlog on my main channel, youtube.com/LakerCoolman, explaining what I've been up to ever since graduation. Been super busy. I'm going to try and keep this video simple, short, because my battery's about to die on the T4i here, because I just shot a take that I thought was too long, so I want to redo it. Anyways, I'm sitting here. It's been a while since I shot with the T4i. I am sitting here with this yellow spotlight lamp light shooting at me because my overhead lights are busted. And I actually like the look of this. It looks cool, but I'm kind of too yellow. I gotta adjust the balance maybe next time. But the lighting works out. It's good enough to film. Anyhow, um, today I want to talk just briefly on a topic that I thought was really interesting and I'd like to hear your guys' opinions. Because it's been a while since I've done some technology-related content, and since I am now graduated, I am full-time self-employed, so I work from here for a living, and I really want to focus on getting a lot of content out. And today I want to talk about technology shifts. Now, not technology in general. Now, the thing about technology, and one of the reasons I love it so much, is that it's always changing. It's always advancing. There's always new things coming out, newer things evolving, newer, whatever coming out, and that's what's so easy. It makes it so easy to keep on being interested, keep on being entertained by technology. Now, what I mean by technology shift is my personal shift. Why, kind of the behind the scenes on why I went from what I do to what I use now. And what I mean by that is like what I do in terms of workflow and the devices and the operating systems and the platforms I use and why they benefit me as of current. The shift from kind of being really in embraced, or I should say really lost in a geek culture of tinkering with stuff and all that. And I still like to do all of that, definitely. To getting to the point where I really just want things to work. And I'll explain a little bit further about that. So, a little bit of background. I started off as a Windows user. Started off as a, early on Windows XP. That's really what got my start on YouTube 6 years ago. I made tutorials on Windows XP. I loved learning about how you can customize the operating system from these crazy user styles or themes to rain meter and customizing your desktop and making it look all crazy and futuristic. I was really into that stuff early on because that's really what got me into computers, learning that you can literally push something and then something comes out on the other end, and it's really, really cool. Something simple as changing the Windows XP start logo or start sound was like miles, I felt like I was miles ahead of everybody who didn't know much about computers back then. And fast forward to today, I'm now predominantly on OS 10. I only use Windows probably 10% of the day if it's for work-related stuff, or mainly majority of the time it's for gaming. I game at night with some friends, and all the games I use are on Windows. Now, when it comes to it, yeah, early on I got into that whole nerd and geek culture through Windows, through customizing, and not just Windows, but I mean technology in general. Really, just messing around with things, getting them to the way I liked it. And as I grew, I really noticed a shift. And I don't mean grow in terms of age, but as you grow up, you'll notice. I think this isn't an age thing, just a maturity level sort of thing, where you'll hear people, and I hear people from adults down to kids complain about Xbox, PS4, Windows OS 10, Android, iOS. This isn't to spark an argument, but something I learned early on as being a tech journalist, as being somebody who covered technology, as somebody who reviewed products, and I want to be not as unbiased as possible in that aspect. People will use what works for them. People will use what they enjoy, and that shouldn't really bother you outside of if they enjoy it, they enjoy it. Now, if people want to argue with me about the fact of this versus that, and they state false claims, then I'm happy to jump in. But most of the time, I'll just sit back and let them deal with it, because again, people are going to use what they want to use. And you'll hear this from all different sides of the argument. Which is better? What's better? It's essentially what it goes down to is what's better for you, the user. Yeah, I have my opinions on what I think is better overall, but that's just my opinion as somebody who writes about technology. Now, again, as I went on, I got my first Mac. I used a MacBook that my sister got from the original MacBooks that were she used in college. I got that. That was my first machine that I used on Leopard. I want to say, yeah, Leopard. And then I evolved. I got my first iMac, and now I use my iMac mainly as my daily driver ever since this is 27-inch. And what I really like about OS 10, what I really like about the environment down to iOS, and I don't mean to sound this cliche because Apple does promote this tagline all the time, but it just works. And not always, but for the most part, it does what I need it to do in the field that I work in. I produce video content. I produce content for the web, and a lot of the times a majority of my stuff is centered around iOS because I do app reviews for clients. They give me a list of app reviews they need done. I get them done, and then I push out that content to them for them to post to their sites, etc. And when it comes down to it, yeah, iOS may have gone stale in its last couple of years, and iOS 7's coming out, and I still jailbreak my phone because I do like some control over it. But for the most part, this just works. For what I needed to do, it just works. It gets what I need to get done. And now a lot of people will say, yeah, and I still consider myself a power user, but a lot of people say they want control and all of that. And yeah, for the most part, Android offers complete control with their operating system, and iOS offers some control as well. But what I think when you think about business, and this is from my coming from a business background, you always appeal to the majority, and the majority, believe it or not, isn't us tech nerds, us technologically inclined. It's a lot of other people who don't know so much about technology. And iOS, in my opinion, is one of the easiest platforms to really just navigate, and its familiarity to me, I like to think as a feature to me. Um, it's an easy device to give to somebody, and they know how to install apps. They know how to do this, and if they know how to do that, they can easily translate that to the iPad. In my work, especially with OS 10, I just find that not having to go through program files, Windows 32, blah blah blah, Registry Editor to fix certain common things I just want, these little things I just need to work, that goes leaps and bounds for me. And I'm sure Windows has evolved, with Windows 8 and all that, but there is still some of those things that sometimes I was recently tweaking around with Windows 8 for a client. I had to do a video series on the top 50 Windows 8 tips, and there's some things I wanted to fix and change and show people how to do. And some of those things you still have to go into these crazy folder directories and all of that. And not to say I don't have the time anymore to do that. I mean, it takes a couple minutes if anything, but it's just that hassle that nowadays when I'm working on all that, I really just want things to be able to do what I need them to do. Technology should work in tandem with us as users. That's what technology, I believe, its purpose to do. It's to empower us to do things more efficiently. And when it's the point where we need to do a little bit extra in order to get it to work, I think that's a flaw in the system or the platform. Like I said, when it comes down to iOS and Android, I have both platforms. I prefer iOS as a daily driver. Again, I just need it to do what I need to do. I need to get my apps. I need to, be able to use the app and then record, review the app, all that good stuff. And for the most part, that works, 90% of the time. Yeah, there's hiccups every now and then. But yeah, that's generally the technology shift for me. As somebody who was into all this customization and then all that stuff, not to say I don't customize now. I still love adding some customization and personalization to my devices. It's just much more minimal sense now. I relate it to that of productivity. As somebody, productivity ties much into my work because I work from home and all of that. I learned early on that I spent too much time trying to get productive rather than being productive. What I mean by that is, mastering the to-do list. What's the best way to do this? What's the best way to organize this? What's the best way to file that? Blah, blah, blah. Rather than sitting down and doing it. And when it comes down to getting anything done, as stupid as it sounds, it's simply sitting there and getting it done. That's really what it takes to, to finish anything, Sometimes I'll have days where I have a client who gives me 25 videos to do, 25 apps to review for the week. So I need to get that done. They'll give me a due date. We'll sort out the invoicing and all that. And I kind of have a free schedule to decide how I want to get this done, as long as it's done by the due date. And the simplest way, that I learned is really, rather than trying to sort out all these things, is simply by just getting it done, starting. Maybe it's doing 5 videos a day. Maybe it's doing, half now, half today, and then half later in the week, whatever it may be. But that's how I relate it in terms of productivity, that I want to spend more time getting things done, getting content created, getting content out there, rather than focusing on how to do this, how to do that. That translates a lot to my operating systems. And my operating systems and devices and platforms I use. I want to spend more time doing what I need to do, getting in and getting out, rather than how do I do this, how do I do that. And of course, there's still people who are going to need to know how to do this, how to do that, and that's why I still create tutorials online. That's really where I got my start. But I think it's interesting looking back on how I used to be with technology compared to now. Maybe that's because I'm much more busier nowadays than I was before. Now I treat it more seriously as a business and as something that has to pay, I get my paycheck out of. That's definitely a big change. But, definitely I don't forget the roots. I still like customization every now and then. I still like to mess around. I still like to go in and tweak stuff every now and then. It's always fun. But yeah, just a little bit of interesting tidbits to talk about. Love to hear what you guys think. I know this is a little bit of a longer video, but hey, and I try to keep this short, and I didn't end up doing it. Love to hear what you guys think. What's your technology shift? What have you noticed? Maybe it's, jumping from iOS to Android. Maybe it's jumping from Android to iOS. Why did you do it? What are your reasons? And it doesn't just have to be limited to mobile. It can be desktop. It can be devices. It can be whatever, you want it to be. Love to hear it down in the comments below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will catch you all in the next video.